Good evening and welcome to the second night of the 2020 Otter Tail County Community Debates. I'm R.C. Drews and I welcome you to this live broadcast from the Fergus Falls City Hall. Thank you for sharing your evening with us, and we hope you'll leave tonight informed on your candidates for local office so that you can vote with confidence in November. Tonight's event is brought to you by the Fergus Falls Daily Journal, Leighton Broadcasting Company, and Peg Access Television of Fergus Falls. On behalf of our sponsors, a reminder that you can subscribe to the Daily Journal digital and print editions by visiting their website at www.fergusfallsjournal.com or by stopping into their new office within the historic Carnegie Building at 125 North Union. And check out their app, available in the Google Play Store and the iOS App Store. You can catch this and our upcoming event on Leighton Broadcasting's AM 1250 KBRF, but make sure to check out their sister stations, Real Rock, Z103.3 FM, 96.5 FM, KJ Country, and Channel 977 FM. And of course, catch this and more televised coverage of local news on local channels 8 and 18 from Peg Access. A reminder that this will be the second of 3 debates, with our final event on Thursday, October 8th, next week. Like tonight, that debate for the offices of Otter Tail County Commissioner in Districts 1, 3, and 5 will begin at 7 o'clock. Tonight's event is the big one for Fergus Falls, beginning with Ward 2 City Council candidates Tom Roofer, the incumbent, and write-in challenger Mark Leighton. Then in approximately 30 minutes, Ward 3 City Council candidates Brent Thompson, incumbent, Victoria McWayne Creek, and write-in candidate Al Krameyer will take the stage. Finally, at approximately 8:15, don't miss the debate for Fergus Falls Mayor, featuring incumbent Ben Shire, challenger John Strauch, and write-in candidate Mike Mortensen. It's all coming up. With the preamble out of the way, let's get to the debate. The questions for tonight's debate have been written by myself and have not been shared with anyone, to include any candidate, campaign, or media partner. As such, these questions are my own and do not necessarily represent the views or opinions of our media sponsors or their affiliates. Candidates, we'll ask that you take your seats now. Mr. Leighton and Mr. Roofer, you'll be up first. Candidates, as we begin, you'll be given 3 minutes for opening statements before we move to the debate questions. During the questioning phase, responses will be limited to 2 minutes per speaker, unless otherwise specified. When you see our official in the front row waving a yellow flag, you have 1 minute remaining. A red flag means only 10 seconds remain. And should you exceed the maximum time limit, our official will hold up a white flag, and it will be my responsibility to interrupt at that time. We ask that you be mindful of the time limits out of courtesy to your fellow candidates and to the audience. Also a note, while any opposing candidate is speaking, you have the opportunity to move for a rebuttal. In that case, we will allow 30 seconds for rebuttal and afford one final response from the original speaker if they choose before moving on. With that said, Mr. Leighton, you have the floor and 3 minutes for your introduction, sir.
Good evening. My name is Mark Leighton. Thank you for this opportunity. I was born in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. My earliest childhood dream was to become a scuba diver. I first became certified in 1969 and assisted various police departments at that time. I graduated from high school in 71. I attended college at Moorhead State, studied economics and accounting. During college, I became a partner at Northwest Divers. I continued my business management and scuba career. I became a certified instructor in all the aspects of dive rescue. As a dive rescue specialist, we train many law enforcement agencies and fire departments, including in Otter Tail County. In addition, we organize international scuba tours from Canada to the South Pacific and all points in between. These early dreams and experiences led me to my career path. As a bank president and chairman, my responsibilities included preparing all budgets to the board and regulators. I expanded my career as a certified financial planner and investment advisor. I was proud to assist many businesses and farmers with their management, budgets, and borrowing capacity needs. I'm also an independent insurance agent licensed in property, casualty, life, and health, and have achieved the degree of certified insurance counselor. Based on my business background, I've sat on many boards, ranging from housing, health services, and economic development. As a community member, I've been involved with the Lions Club, Boy Scouts, and continue to support law enforcement and fire departments. Currently, my business interests include an independent insurance agency, ATM placement company, a certified firearms instructor, and various C-stores, car washes, restaurants, and a bakery. My years of diverse experience, business, and risk management, coupled with your Ward 2 write-in vote, can bring back fiscal responsibility to the city of Fergus Falls. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Layton. Mr. Roofer, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and thank you to RC and for our media partners for providing our citizens to get the insight into how we are going to approach this campaign. About me, I was born in Fergus Falls, Lake Region Healthcare. I've lived here for almost all of my life, but I do feel that it's valuable that I've lived outside of the area for just long enough so that I was able to gain some perspective, which has helped me in my dealings on the City Council. My wife and I both work here in Fergus Falls full-time, and we have 3 kids in our fabulous public school system, 13, 11, and 9. It's hard to keep up because it changes every year. Oh, and speaking of, I should introduce my plus one. I've got my 13-year-old daughter, Sophia, here as my debate inspiration. I am also a coach. I coach my kids. I help coach my kids' hockey teams. I've coached football. I've coached baseball. And I have a great time doing it, and it's developed some great connections over the years. I serve on a committee at church. I'm an indoor cycling instructor at the YMCA, and I also jump on my bike to ride outside whenever I can. I'm a longtime proud member and past president of the Fergus Falls Noon Kiwanis Club, and I've been on several nonprofit boards in the city and served them well, and we've had great results on those boards. I'm also a member of the City Council Legislative Committee, and that's given me the opportunity to spend many productive days at the state capitol in St. Paul working with and negotiating with lawmakers on both sides of the aisle. I've also had the opportunity to represent Fergus Falls by testifying before both the House and the Senate Tax and Bonding Committees. I also serve on the Fergus Falls Port Authority, which provides valuable economic development tools to our community. Along with many other community members, I'm a proud alumni of the Blandon Community Leadership Program, where we learned skills that have been a key to my success as a council member. Why vote for me? It's because I bring a positive message. We've done good things and we've gotten results. There's no reason to stop now. We're going to keep Fergus Falls heading for a bright future. Instead of finding a way to say no, we're going to keep finding responsible solutions to meet our goals. You're going to hear me use the words we and us a lot. This isn't just about me. One council member doesn't come in and change everything. I'm just part of a great team of the mayor, the council, the city staff, the Port Authority, Greater Fergus Falls, and all of our citizens. My family's happy here. This is our home. So my plan is to offer the current and future residents of Fergus Falls and generations to come the best possible city in which to live, work, and raise a family.
Thank you, Mr. Roofer. Thank you, candidates. So we will rotate after each question. So our first question will begin with Mr. Roofer. This is the first question of a 2-hour event, so let's start with something simple. Fergus Falls is divided into 4 wards, and wards 1 and 4 house the city's downtown businesses. Ward 3, meanwhile, features our industrial park and large businesses like Fleet Farm, Aldi's, and Nelson Auto. As candidates for Ward 2, you represent important businesses certainly, but also a high percentage of residential zones, many of which are outside the core residential grid of Fergus Falls. With that in mind, what role do you believe the city should play in making Fergus Falls a better place to live, and how would you work to that end? Mr. Roofer, we ask you first.
Yeah, how do we go about making Fergus Falls a better place to live? We already have a plan in the works. Unfortunately, just like many things, the COVID pandemic put things at the state legislature on hold. But we worked together as a council, along with public input, in order to put together a great sales tax proposal. As I stated earlier, we spent many hours in discussions with our lawmakers in order to find out exactly what we needed to do to get this passed. We were all set and ready to go with it. Pandemic happened, but that sales tax proposal is going to bring amenities to our cities, to our city, including an outdoor aquatic center, which I haven't done all my door knocking yet this year, but when I knocked in 2016, that was one of the top things that I heard the young families of Fergus Falls tell me that they wanted. We also have a plan to revitalize the D Lagoon recreational area. We're going to be expanding the campground, updating it, adding spots, making it more modern, increasing lighting and expanding that capacity so that we can host more and bigger sports tournaments. All of that with the aim of giving our residents things to do and things to improve their quality of life, but also attracting people to our city to come here and spend their dollars. And studies show that when people come and visit, those people are more likely to come and make this their home. So between that and continuing our development of economic opportunities, that's how we're going to make Fergus. It's going to continue to be the best place to live.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Layton, your response.
I believe the primary function of a city is to provide public utilities: water, sewer, garbage, streets, police, and fire services. Fergus Falls has also successfully expanded those services to include the liquor store, golf course, and airport. Fergus Falls has been blessed as it's located in Otter Tail County with heavy lakes and on a main corridor, I-94. These are all excellent strengths our predecessors have accomplished and built on. Now it's time to re-examine how those assets can be showcased and fully utilized. I believe if we control if we can control city spending and bring down the cost to real estate taxes, fees, easy money will come to Fergus Falls. Smart money, private money, will come where it's profitable. So I think we need to build on those basic levels.
Thank you, sir. Of course, as a council member, you represent your ward as you represent the city itself. And one local landmark unique to Ward 2, but impacting the entire population, is Lake Alice. The lake is at the center of local mythology as it is at the center of our town. We could argue the lake has always had a problem with pollution ever since the 1919 tornado dumped half the town into the water. But today, chemical runoff, organic waste, and more traditional contaminants have compromised the beauty of Lake Alice. What do you think could be done to improve this natural resource? And Mr. Layton, we'll ask you first.
Well, as a scuba diver, Lake Alice brings many challenges. Obviously, it's closed. I believe it's a closed water. I think it needs to be dredged. It could be, if you will, sealed. Sidewalks, road could be paved and curbed. Unfortunately, the wildlife has ruined all the trees. So, there's a great deal of work that needs to be done there. As an outsider coming in, I understand it's been a discussion for many years, and nothing really has been done other than it gets to be a splash in the paper for a while, and there's where it sits. It's a difficult problem.
Certainly. Mr. Roofer?
Well, according to the studies that we've done, and the water quality experts that we've talked to, it would be prohibitively expensive to clean the water up to the point of, being able to swim. In its current state, it's likely usable for boating and such things. But we do need to focus on the area, not necessarily the water, but the area right around it. I was very, very pleased to see that our project of resurfacing the other half of Lake Alice that really needed it is now, if not completely finished, just about. As an avid cyclist, I miss having the Lake Alice 100 around that lake. And I look forward to many, many years of that to come now. I heard from residents on a regular basis, when is this going to get done? COVID threw us for a loop this construction season, but we got it done. So the surface of the road is now what we would expect to deliver to our citizens. One idea that I have for using Lake Alice is it was my dream this winter to host a pond hockey tournament on Lake Alice. Those tournaments bring people in from many states away, and how cool would that be to have a tournament like that right smack dab in the middle of our city of Fergus Falls? And let's kind of try to keep this between us and Fergus Falls, but I don't want to let the cat out of the bag. But our plan is also to bring the Fox Sports North and Minnesota Wild Hockey Day in Minnesota to Fergus Falls. But again, we don't want anybody to steal our idea. So, but we've got, like I said, we've got plans. They're already in the works. They're already moving forward, and we're going to get them done.
Thank you, sir. According to the U.S. Small Business Administration, small businesses make up over 99% of the country's employer firms and 64% of net new private sector jobs. At the end of 2019, Greater Fergus Falls and the local Chamber of Commerce announced 110 new businesses in Fergus Falls between 2014 and 2019, most of them small businesses, including retail sales, consultancies, and smaller manufacturing operations. There's no question small businesses are important to the city's health. But what can the city do for small businesses? Mr. Roofer, we'll ask you first.
Well, one thing that we have done, and of course we'll continue to do, is that since my term started, and I got to make sure I have my numbers correct, our council has provided $1.7 million of low-interest loans to spur local business development, and I'm pleased to say that program has a zero default rate. So that right there is an example of the role of the government stepping in to provide that funding to spur the development. With our power, we're able to offer a very competitive interest rate to those businesses, and I'm very, very happy that we've done so. I mean, I maintain regular contact with our small businesses. You've mentioned Greater Fergus Falls. Our mayor had the vision to create Greater Fergus Falls, and I was happy to support it as a council member. I love working with Greater Fergus Falls. The makeup of their board is just absolutely second to none. The executive director does a fabulous job. They definitely have their finger on the pulse of the Fergus Falls business community. They deliver us a huge return on investment. If you look at the investment that the city makes in that organization versus the benefits that we get from it, it's amazing. So again, part of the team. It's our council, Greater Fergus Falls, Port Authority, city staff, and our businesses, and open communication. And I tell people, they used to say that Fergus Falls wasn't business friendly. I don't think that's the case. And if anybody feels that way, please call me. My contact information is on the city website. I want to hear about it so we can fix it. Because the city staff that we have, if we go to them and say, hey, you know what, this is a concern, this is a speed bump, it's going to get fixed.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Layton.
Again, my golden rule to private money is it will be invested where it's profitable. I am a businessman. The city must reduce its spending and reduce the real estate taxes. The tax levy in Fergus Falls in 2012 was $4 million. It's projected to go to $6,700,000 in 2021. These spendings can't continue. General expense has gone from $9,800,000 in 2013 to $14 million in 2021. A 9-year increase of $4,300,000, and in the last 4 years, 50% of that was spent, $2,000,004. Capital expenditures. Capital expenditures in Fergus Falls typically ranged at the $6 million level on a 5-year budget based on the city's budget. And again, these are proposed, goes to $25 million. Fergus Falls cannot afford this.
Thank you, sir.
Can I offer a rebuttal?
Certainly.
I am not a finance expert, nor do I claim to be, but thankfully we have Bill Sunmore and our excellent city finance staff that are financial experts. When Bill Sunmore tells me that we don't waste money and that we spend responsibly, I believe him. I'm not qualified to question his judgment. So, we're not raising the levy next year. So,
okay. Mr. Layton, any response?
Well, those were the numbers I saw in the budget proposed in 2021.
Okay. Thank you. If you can believe it already, we're on to our final questions, and our final questions are a little different. The next questions will be for each candidate individually, and will focus on their campaign in particular. I want to emphasize the intention of these questions is for the candidates to demonstrate their strengths despite challenges. The time limits will remain the same, though there will be no option for rebuttal, and we will reset the order of questioning. So, Mr. Layton, we'll begin with you. Mr. Layton, your name is associated with a number of businesses, as you indicated at your opening statements, to include the Rotsay Truck Stop, an insurance agency with offices in Benson. With so many interests across so many areas, how will you find the time to lead and work for Fergus Falls?
All my companies have extremely strong managers. Fortunately, I'm not needed there every day. I sit in the office, I analyze the profit and loss monthly on every company. I direct from 30,000 feet which direction we're going to go. If it's an acquisition of an insurance agency, next year our goal is to totally remodel the gas and diesel island. So in the back office, that's what I do. I have adequate time to assist in this city. That was one of the questions I had to some of the council members. How much time is spent here? I'm a numbers guy. It's going to be pretty clear and cut. I'm experienced in budgets and management of profitability. And I think, again, if we reduce the cost of government in the city of Fergus Falls, it'll be much easier for us as a council with the new write-in candidates to attract and keep new business.
Thank you. Mr. Rufer, You've been outspoken in favor of recreational and tourism projects such as the Glacial Edge Trail, bicycling lanes downtown, and others, some of which we've touched on tonight. I think it's fair to say these projects may be what you're best known for in the last years on the council. Your opponent, however, like many of the new opponents this year, is a businessman and entrepreneur. So what projects would you point to in your history to show that you're equally committed to the business culture of Fergus Falls?
Well, RC, I'm glad you asked. I, am a proud supporter of Greater Fergus Falls. Greater Fergus Falls was initiated during my term, and that's their job. Their job is business development, and they do a great job of it, and they're going to continue to keep doing a great job of it. We've done things such as the city has helped to bring Otter Cove to Fergus Falls. Otter Cove brings in visitors from 15 different zip codes to come here and spend their money. We've filled the Target building, we've filled the Shopco building, and due to the professionalism and confidentiality of the team at Greater Fergus Falls, all I can guess is that there are plans underway for the rest of them, and we don't need to worry about that. We've made investments in the city to save money too. We're going to save $560,000 by refinancing our city bonds. We outsourced some departments in the city, and that saves us $56,000 a year. We've saved on personnel costs by restructuring and some early retirements. We're increasing our street maintenance fund by 20%. In the past 2 years, we're being proactive versus reactive on that maintenance. And those things all benefit our local businesses. Local sales tax revenue was $1.26 million when I took office. It's risen to $1.33 million in 2019, and it's on track to exceed, to keep growing despite the COVID pandemic. Job market has grown 2.6% in the past year, and we're forecasting a growth rate of 34.5% in the next 10 years. So it's a very business-friendly climate already. I don't think it needs to be changed. And like I said, though, if it does need to be changed, let me know. We'll change it.
Thank you, sir, and thank you, candidates. You'll now have 3 minutes each for closing statements. And following our order, Mr. Rufer, you'll go first.
Thank you very much. Well, again, I appreciate the opportunity to connect with the voters. Some folks have told me that they don't really want someone showing up at their house during a pandemic, so I will stand my distance and do my best to respect everyone's wishes. But to sum up where we're at right now, like Wayne Gretzky is famous for saying, we don't skate to where the puck is. We're skating to where the puck's going to be. And that's what this council's doing. We're thinking ahead with the downtown riverfront project. If it wasn't for the pandemic, they would have been out there digging today. It's ready to go. We've impressed the bonding committees and the legislature, and that business. We're gonna revitalize the downtown. We're gonna bring in new restaurants. We're gonna bring in new local shopping opportunities. We're gonna have things to do downtown. We'll work with the Center for the Arts, give people a reason to come downtown, to build community, to bring their families, and give people from out of town reasons to come here and spend money. You mentioned the trails. We'll be perfectly situated to have people riding our trails through our city. So my plan for the future is to continue to work with our local experts and our business owners and developers to keep growing our city. Get on the bus. Let's go. Let's stop saying no, and let's start looking for responsible ways to make it work. I have to tell a story that I had a conversation the other day with someone who's been an absolute fixture in the construction industry in Fergus Falls for decades. And this person came up to me while I was out putting up a yard sign. Maybe you've seen them. But he came up to me and said, "Tom, I don't live in the city. I can't vote for you, but I just want to tell you that I really think you guys are doing a good job." And what this gentleman said to me was that he's seen more forward movement in Fergus Falls in the last 2 years than he had in the previous 20 before that. And this guy's been there, done there, got the T-shirt. So I go downtown, I talk to business owners that compliment the mayor, council, city staff. They say, you guys have got one of the best, most productive councils we've seen in a long time. And I don't mean that to disparage past councils. I'm just repeating what they've said to me. So with the rest of my time, I would actually, I'd like to make a request. But I have to also mention, too, that as far as I feel about the current council, folks, the current council ain't broke. We don't need fixing. I think the council that we have right now has the tools. We have the ability to have respectful political debate, of which I think the big guys could probably take a lesson from the Fergus Falls City Council. But I just want to make a request of you, watching and listening at home, come November 4th, we're still going to be a community. We're still going to be friends. We're still going to be neighbors. So take a step back and think before you post that comment or before you lash out. Remember that there's a person on the other end. Perhaps the greatest thing about our country is the freedom to have our own views and share them. Please, let's all try to make politics civil again. Thank you, and please honor me with your vote on November 3rd.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Layton, you have 3 minutes for your closing statements.
I, too, want to thank everyone who's worked hard to organize this event and to all those who are watching and will vote for their best candidate. I've studied the last 2 city budgets and feel there needs to be a better transparency available to the public. The budgets are well formatted, but one must dig deep into the budget to find out where the money is being spent, especially for the money being allocated outside the primary function of a city. I will promote zero-based budgeting. Each department will need to justify their spending, starting at the first dollar, and that needs to be presented to the council and the citizens in detail. City of Fergus Falls now spends $3 million on parks and $1 million on the fire department. We spend more money on parks than we do streets. I hear from constituents, when will my road get fixed? These budgets need to be clear and available to the public. This can be better accomplished with the City of Fergus Falls online forum, direct communication from the citizens, and a regular round table coffee talk at the local cafe. With this information available to the public and as a city council, I will work and look forward to your conversation and meeting you at any time. With a new focus in the city's fiscal responsibility, coupled with an aggressive economic business program, which we can do with our write-in votes, Fergus Falls will be in a better position to maintain and attract new business. Thank you, and I look forward to your write-in vote for Ward 2.
Thank you, sir. And once again, thank you, candidates. That brings us to the end of the debate for Fergus Falls Ward 2 City Council, but there's more to come. We'll take a brief 2-minute intermission as the next candidates take the stage, so stay tuned.